What's up? What's up? What's up? This Newbies to Movies. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Justin.
And this is a podcast where we like to talk about new movies that we're watching to try to just get better at overall criticism of them, but also rating of them. This week's theme, or more so actor, is Al Pacino. When it first came with Al Pacino, I thought I watched more movies of him, but turned out not as many as I probably should, because he's a very talented actor, highly renowned actor too. First, we'll start off how we do every podcast, with just talk about something that we want to point out. Justin, you want to go?
Yeah, so I'm watching Insomnia and Godfather this week. I've never seen Godfather, so finished Godfather and then immediately went into Godfather 2. I'm not going to talk too much about it because there's spoilers for Godfather 1, which we'll get into, but very good movie. I like the way this one was shot and filmed. If I'm not mistaken, Coppola didn't do the second one, right?
No, I thought he did.
Did he do the second one? I was reading about how terrible of a time he had doing the first one, so I didn't think he went back. But then again, he complains about making every movie.
No, he did the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I saw that they had tried to get Scorsese on the second
one. That would be interesting if he did that.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be like a low-key, just like Goodfellas.
Yeah.
No, he did all three, so.
Okay. He was talking about how bad of a time he had on the first one, which, I don't know. It seems like he has a bad time making every movie he ever made. It's just kind of
Apocalypse Now makes sense why it was bad, because it's literally just in the jungle. But this one, what was such a bad time about it?
He didn't even really say. They were just they tried to get Scorsese for the second one, but then Coppola came back.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably what he's most famous for, honestly, that and Apocalypse Now. So I would say Godfather is one of the most renowned movies of all time. Cool. So I'll point out two movies. First one being People We Meet on Vacation. It's a new movie on Netflix. The first 2026 movie that I watched. It's honestly just a normal rom-com. There's nothing special about it. Not shouting it out. Very much like Harry Met Sally vibes to it. So if any of the listeners are really into that, then I would say check it out, because it jumps back into time when they first met. And it's a 10-year friendship that turns into a relationship kind of thing, where they finally confess their feelings for each other. Nothing too crazy. The other one was Is This Thing On? I saw that last night. It's a 2025 movie. It stars Will Arnett and Laura Dern, and then it's directed by Bradley Cooper, who's also in the movie. And it's about this guy that's going through his divorce after being together for 20 years. And through his divorce, he finds stand-up comedian stuff to kind of get him through it. They end up back together by the end of the movie. Spoiler alert, but it's not really, because you kind of see it coming, almost from the jump.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to see the stand-up, because Will Arnett himself is actually a stand-up comedian.
Mm.
He's been in a bunch of stuff. He voiced BoJack Horseman. And then it's a really good performance by him that I didn't see coming, because he's mainly known for being a comedian. But I could see him rooting, because he was married to Amy Poehler for 16 years. Yeah. And you could see in the performance, he really brings that out, his own feelings through it. Very impressive movie that surprised me, really. Bradley Cooper directing, and Bradley Cooper was hilarious in it. He was probably the funniest person in it. So
yeah, he is funny when he's put into roles like that. Oftentimes he plays a lot of serious roles, but I've seen some where he is pretty funny.
Yeah, that type of Bradley Cooper I not the type that does Maestro and just tries to Oscar bait, I like it when he just goes out and just does random niche jobs. Awesome. Well, this week we are doing Al Pacino. Again, one of the most renowned actors. He grew up in New York. He's known for a lot of mobster kind of movies, different crime movies. Yeah, he has one Oscar, but he's been nominated for a bunch of other ones. He's a big part of Hollywood itself too. Everyone, I would say, even if you haven't seen that many movies about him, you probably heard of him before. He's done Scarface, The Godfathers, Heat, Any Given Sunday. He was even in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he's going to be in a movie coming out next week called Dead Man's Wire, which he's still doing work all the way at 85.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
For the love of the game.
Yep. So the two main movies that we did this week were Insomnia, directed by Christopher Nolan, and then got The Godfather, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. But we also thought it'd be just right to talk about Heat as well, because it's one of my favorite movies. I have a poster of it right there, but also it's one of his crazy good performances. Such a unique performance as well, compared to the other two movies in this. I think this performance is very different, a lot more aggressive. I would say, of a performance by Al Pacino. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I watched this a couple weeks ago on a flight, and you told me to make sure I had good headphones on because the sound design in that movie was really great. But it was a really good movie and just kind of about two guys, really consumed by their work, and they're very emotionally isolated from the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's such an interesting like way to like go about it because it's like a cat and mouse game kind of thing, but then it kind of turns its head to where like they're kind of equals like halfway through the movie, and it's like whoever gets out on top of each other at a certain point. And a lot of movies have tried to copy it from here on out, like The Town with Ben Affleck has tried to copy it. Den of Thieves a while back tried to copy. Like very much like most of the heist films, pretty much call Heat as like one of the main ones that they try to copy
Yeah.
nowadays.
I mean, even that theme you were talking about, them kind of being the same person by the middle of the movie, I'd even say like Insomnia definitely took from that as well.
Yeah, no, it's very similar. And Heat, when it came out, didn't get the love I think it deserved. It wasn't nominated for any Oscars, no love at all. I think it's just like a shame because at
Yeah,
least
it's
sound
crazy.
design, like the sound design in this is insane. It just sounds exactly like how it would actually sound. I still think movies today don't sound as good as it does in it. It like ages so well. Performances by Pacino and De Niro are insane. I just look at the diner scene where they're like talking to each other for like 20 minutes. And I can't think of many movies where you get like two actors in their prime, because these are like two of the biggest actors in the 90s, go on full 100, like giving full max speed pitches to each other. I can't really think of many movies that do that anymore.
Yeah, I can't either. I mean, there's so many scenes in that movie where they're talking and the dialogue of them going back and forth just fully encapsulates you. Like it's just so locked in and in tune with the film.
Yeah.
Amazing job by both of them.
It's such a long movie, but for me, every time I watch it, it doesn't even feel that long. There's so many quotable lines too. It's like, don't waste my motherfucking time by Al Pacino at the beginning of the movie. And then who are you, an owl? Like there's so many quotable lines that are so funny by Pacino. Yeah. I just really like how it kind of turns its head on each other. Also, like shout out Natalie Portman. Young Natalie Portman pops up in this as like the
Yeah.
kid.
Yep.
And then one of the biggest like that guy's Tom Sizemore. He plays Michael in it, and he also is in Saving Private Ryan as the sergeant, if you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. What of that guy? And then Val Kilmer, this is after Top Gun. So he's also like at his prime. And this is also one of his big roles. The fact that they could get a third guy that big, who probably Val Kilmer does is like, he stars in movies. Yeah, he's the third in this one. The fact that they could do that.
Yeah. The cast overall is really nuts.
Mm-hmm. They're announcing like a Heat 2 coming out with Leonardo DiCaprio's confirmed to be in it. And then I think Austin Butler's going to play Val Kilmer's guy. So how Heat 2 is like, because I read the book, is it's like there's two different timelines. The one after with Val Kilmer's character, like trying to go on the run. And then the before with Pacino and De Niro's character going against like the same mob boss, but they haven't met each other yet. Like this is before the timeline starts. The book is really good, and in theory, it should be really well. And if they got DiCaprio and probably Austin Butler on the line and Michael Mann directing again, I mean, I'm all in then. So
yeah, that should be good.
Yeah, I'm hoping like I don't know who they're gonna have star alongside DiCaprio though. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty important, I feel.
Yeah, I don't know who could be 100 level. Probably some guys I'm just gonna think of right now. But cool. I'll just give my final rating for it. I gave it, it's again one of my favorite movies of all time, top 4. So I gave it a 97 out of 100 or 9.7 out of 10. I think it's almost a nearly flawless film for me.
Yeah, I gave it an 8.5. I wish like I would have watched this first before watching like any other crime style movies like this, because I feel like it would have done it more justice for me.
Yeah.
But to me, like, not saying it felt like it. Obviously, this was the first one, but crime and like mob style movies aren't always like my favorite genre. So just didn't hit as much for me, but I know that's a big thing for you. So it makes sense.
Now, it definitely was like the platform that a lot of people use for what they make now, or they tried to make. Yeah, if you watch it back, you're like, oh, wow, this looks like the same tropes because they kind of created the tropes itself.
Yeah.
But cool. Awesome. Well, first, we'll start with The Godfather. So, Justin, if you want to take over.
Yeah. So, I told people we were doing this for the podcast this week, and everybody's, of course, like, what do you mean you've never seen it? Like, that's crazy. And I don't know how I've never came across it either, but very happy we did. It's definitely been on my list for a while. So starting with the plot, I gave it a 9. Obviously, it just focuses on the overall power of the crime family of the Corleones. Obviously, Vito Corleone, played by Marlon Brando, is a huge character in this and very iconic. And then his youngest son, Michael, was in the military. He reluctantly got dragged into the family business, and it's just an inevitable cycle of violence and betrayal with the other 5 families of New York, but also Michael's own struggle with joining the family business and trying to stay clear of it, but also wanting to help his family. He tries to maintain, a normal relationship with his wife, but obviously goes back to Italy to hide for so long. It's really good. I've really enjoyed this plot. It was definitely a long movie, but it was pretty locked in the whole time.
Yeah, definitely a movie with like a lot of talking and dialogue. So like you have to pretty much be very locked in, but I think it draws you in with a lot of like the family connections. And with Michael was reluctant at first, but then once his father's hurt and like the whole like scene in the hospital, once that happens to him, you can like, I think this is so great about Pacino himself is that like you could see like his demeanor change about like what he's in now. And that's why he ends up like killing the cop and the other mob boss because he's like, nah, you can't just get away with that.
Mm-hmm.
While like everyone else was like, nah, don't try to start a war. And he's like, nah, F that. He's like, you can't just like try to kill my father. I think you can get away with that kind of thing.
Yeah. And then getting into characters, I gave it an 8. I think my only complaint would be that there is so many. I feel like I need to rewatch this movie again just after watching it just to fully understand, like the 5 families are introduced to us and we don't see them for like the first hour and a half, but there keeps being like dialogue about it. That would be my only real knock. It's just sometimes it's a little hard to track. But again, I just have to rewatch it again to, now that I know everybody, to pick up on those additional supporting characters a little bit more and, how in depth they went as well.
Nah, I definitely agree. You could definitely easily get lost by who's part of each family, who they're talking about with certain things. Kept looking at my phone with like the cats with like names on it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what they're talking about. I think that's also maybe supposed to be part of the concept, though.
For sure,
maybe
it's like big universe building.
Yeah, where it's supposed to be a little confusing for the watcher until it happens, but he's pulling all the strings because like Godfather's known for like the strings and being pulled, but he knows what's going on while us and like maybe like people all throughout the different mobs are also confused. And that's the kind of way I view it. And I've also read different reviews on it that people have been like, oh, you get lost. But then also that's like the whole point is that like he's not lost, but you are.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense, especially, with all the backstabbing, the double agent kind of style of storytelling. You want it to be kind of a surprise for the viewer when it happens as well.
Yeah, because he like reads stuff that and says like, oh, this happens. Like there's a big turning point. I would say the climax where right before Vito dies at the end, where he kind of reveals to Michael like what's going to happen and like you're going to know who. And it's like, how does he know that? And then it happens just like that. And you're like, wow. And then Michael just decides to go all out and just take out all of his enemies all in one go.
Yeah. For cinematography, I gave it a 9. One thing I really noticed is Vito Corleone, played by Marlon Brando, controls his body language and movement so well in this movie. He has like this just sense of authority over everybody that walks in the room. And that was really well shot and really well done by Brando. I think it was pretty amazing, especially for how old this movie is. Everything was really well done cinematography wise.
Yeah, it was. There's so many different cool shots. I mean, the way the movie starts itself is super cool.
Yeah.
Because that's like what sets off all the what happens at the beginning of the movie is because he decides not to like fully go all out for this guy. But it's like a close up shot and then he's in the dark overlooming him, but you could tell that he has the most authority in that room. And then the movie ends with the kiss on the hands of like Michael now being that guy, now being the Godfather. And I like the beginning and the end, you could see both like the control of the room with different, like the same kind of shot sequences of the movie, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah. And then for dialogue, I gave it a 9. So many great lines in this movie, super quotable. I think my favorite was, I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Yeah.
partially because Michael says it in the second one where I just started, which is pretty cool, just
Yeah.
seeing that passing of the torch moment. But the dialogues and the meetings, every 5 minutes there's another meeting between somebody and somebody else. And I thought that was just so well done. It is, like we talked about, a little bit hard to track, but it is so interesting to watch how, I guess you could call it, the business gets done. It was
Yeah.
really cool to see.
Yeah. Leave the gun, but take the cannolis. uh, what else was it? Like, oh, he's like, you're my brother. I love you, but don't you ever go side against our family again. And it was like, dang. And
spoiler alert,
brother,
he did.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I've seen that far, but not any further than that.
Yeah. Doesn't surprise me. I mean, he's kind of just a piece of crap in the whole movie. Like, you barely even see him, and you just know that he's kind of a piece of crap. But
and then set design, I gave it an 8. I thought the house looked great. I mean, that's where we're spending most of the time. But overall, New York looks really well done and very vintage. Especially I know I keep bringing up the second movie that we just started, but the flashback scenes and New York as well, they really brought that back to really look like a vintage style New York. I think they did it very well.
Yeah, this is already set back in the 70s, but then it's flashing back something else. And there's a specific scene when they're driving throughout, and it's like has an overshot of older New York. And it first starts with like dark black and white, and then kind of goes into it. I thought that was really cool as well. There's like, I mean, it starts off with like the whole wedding that I thought was really unique, like setup of the movie itself, like setting up through a wedding. That kind of like foreshadows how the movie ends as well.
And then for acting, I gave it a 10. Obviously, some of the most iconic roles ever. Very realistic performances from Marlon Brando as Vito Corleone and Al Pacino as Michael Corleone. I thought overall the whole cast did amazing. There wasn't a moment where I felt that somebody was out of place. I did notice Lenny Montana. He used to be a wrestler, right? He was pretty funny in that one scene where he's going in and stumbling his words, talking to Vito. Is pretty hilarious, even for not being an actor. I mean, he's an actor in a sense, but he did pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, all like the main actors were, for me, really like, I mean, Brando is like 10 out of 10 of this movie, and he won an Oscar for it, which, fun fact that he's like one of 2 people to deny the Oscar. So he actually rejected it. Because of how Hollywood was like acting out American Indians at the time. That's like the whole reason why I denied it, but he's doing great. Al Pacino, insane in this movie as well. My one knock against the acting is some of the side characters, like the very minor characters. Some of them are just like way overacting, in my opinion. Sometimes people get in like these big movies, and you could just tell that like they're trying to overact, like specifically the sister. For me, I think there's some
I was going to say she got a little annoying.
Yeah, I was like, all right. I was like, this is like a classic example of like overacting, in my opinion. Yeah, it's like a very minor thing because I think the main ones make up for it. I mean, like James Caan himself.
He killed it.
It's also notorious that Al Pacino was like pretty upset that he got nominated for Best Supporting Actor in this movie when he has the most screen time, and him and Brando didn't go to the Oscars that year because they didn't like how Brando for a different reason, and Pacino didn't like how he was getting treated by the Academy for like this run of it, because he was like, this is BS because I should be nominated for Best Actor, not Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a point. Him and Brando basically run that whole movie, and honestly, they could both be the main actors in it.
Yeah.
Directing, I gave it a 9. Obviously, Francis Ford Coppola. We kind of talked about how he said he had such a horrible time doing this.
Yeah.
I don't know why it would have been so bad. I feel like it probably would have been a pretty great time. You're around people in suits and drinks and all that kind of stuff all the time. It's not like you're sitting in the jungle getting ate up by mosquitoes. But nevertheless, he's amazing. We did it again. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. It seems like he has like a crazy attention to detail that like kind of hinders like his happiness. I don't know if that's like reading into him too much, but like he also, with like most recent his movie Megalopolis, dude, there's like apparently a documentary out there. I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it, where he's just like way over micromanaging people in that movie and just having the worst time of his life, it looks like. And he's like old now. So it's like, dude, like
you don't need this. Like,
Yeah.
go live on a beach or something.
Yeah. It's like, dude, chill out. But he's always kind of known for like not having the best time. Apocalypse Now, again, that 100% makes sense why. But yeah, it doesn't really make sense why he didn't enjoy this one other than probably micromanaging.
Yeah. And from what I've seen, like I've watched a couple of videos about the cast, like obviously 20, 30 years later talking about it, like James Caan and stuff like that, how much fun they would have on set. So it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me that he was like, oh, piss poor
Yeah.
about everything.
Yeah.
Tracked, I gave it a 10. I thought the music fully embodied the vibe of the mafia and all that entails in that in doing that. And I think it used music perfectly to portray plot points. The big one, obviously, I'm trying to think, like the church at the end, the baptism.
Yeah.
The music was so well done there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like the movie starts off with like its iconic like sound that I thought was that went throughout the movie. That like kind of like a saddening sound, but also like a tone of like endearment. I don't know how else to describe it, but very iconic like soundtrack for this and score.
Yeah. And then for theme, there's a lot to touch here. I give it a 9. Obviously, family and loyalty, but also the business aspect of that when it comes to like a family business, the corrupting nature of power, the dark side of the American dream, the conflict between honor and violence, and how far will one go. Very, standard themes. We see these a lot nowadays, but I think the way it was done and all together was very interesting and very well done.
Yeah. Like this is a very like one of the first like iconic mafia films, I would say, portraying it. I'm sure there was a couple years later, but this is like one of the most popular. And I think the themes really dig down to like what the mafia is all about family, trust, and all that. And it's kind of broken right from the beginning. And you have Michael trying to bring it all back together. And how does he build it back together? He kills off, like literally just kills off like all the people you can't trust.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to make a lot of different business moves, and you can't make all those dynamic changes if you don't trust the people around you.
Yeah, exactly. Editing, I gave it a 9. It's definitely renowned for its use of like cross-cutting.
Yeah.
Especially like in the baptism scene that we were kind of just talking about. The sacred ritual inside of a church and then cutting back and forth between the brutal murders that are going on and happening was really cool, really well done.
Especially for its time. I mean, Coppola is kind of known for that now, even though like, if I remember right, Apocalypse Now is more like long standing shots compared to like cutting. This one, it's just very unique ways to like be able to cut scenes and all that now like it's just kind of normal in films that people use all the time. But he really like made it himself, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. And then my overall score, I give it a 9 out of 10 or 90. I really like this movie. Just started the second one, got to finish it today and then get to the third one. So I'll probably finish that, 9 hours later. But overall, really great movie, great story. Characters are super likable and enjoyable. I'm excited to see what comes.
Yeah. I also gave it a 9 out of 10 or 90, literally the same score. I really enjoyed it as well. This is a rewatch for me, but when rewatching it, I just didn't remember most of it because I think it's been a long time since I watched this. But all the performances are great, and I think I appreciated it more on the rewatch than I did the first time, just because we've been really digging deep into these movies, and I think I can appreciate a lot of different things, which is really cool. I think something cool about Francis Ford Coppola that I just like to note on is like his family, like heritage thing, like his entire like the Coppola family itself, which involves like Nicolas Cage, which I don't know if you knew they were related.
Not
Like Nicolas Cage is actually like his last name's actually Coppola. It's not. It's not Cage. It's a stage name. Yeah, and then of course his daughter Sofia Coppola is like kind of a renowned director today. He's a very iconic like director himself. He's done a lot of like really outstanding movies, bunch of Palme d'Ors. So I think he's a really good director. I'm glad that we got to do finally. Cool, awesome. So the other movie that we did, going from one great director to another, Insomnia. So Insomnia is based off of like a Norwegian film, actually, a Norwegian film in the 90s that involves Stellan Skarsgård. But this is kind of like, it's not directly an adaptation because Nolan does Nolan things and adjust it where he wants to,
Mm-hmm.
And Nolan's kind of famous for that, how he wants to like adjust it. This is still like, I think this is his second movie, if I'm not mistaken, or third movie.
It was pretty early.
Yeah, this is after Memento. And the fact
Okay.
that he could get Pacino and Robin Williams right after Memento is kind of insane.
Yeah.
But it's based off that, and it follows the story of the detective who's called into Alaska to really find this murderer of this young woman that she was murdered, lived out or left out on like a riverbank. And he's kind of friends with like the police detective there, so he calls him like kind of a favor kind of thing. But then his character is also getting kind of ambushed and or like looked into in California or LA of like being a shady cop, I guess, but also like investigated. But he's solved a lot of cases on intuition, which is kind of like foreshadowed to where he uses a lot of intuition. So if they kind of go against him now and his partner goes against him, all of the people that he's got into prison could be released. So that's like kind of the build up to it. But then the movie itself kind of turns on its head when it's in a chase sequence against the killer and he accidentally shoots his partner in the fog. And then, but his partner's like, no, you did that on purpose, even though I'm positive, one, he has no sleep, which aka the name Insomnia, not that much sleep. He accidentally kills his partner, but he feels the guilt the whole time. But also like another thing, if he gets charged with like being a bad cop pretty much, or like gets arrested, it could release all the people that he's convicted in the past.
Yeah.
And how is that fair? So then this whole movie, he's like playing his own head game against himself of like what's worth more. And that's pretty much, yeah, that's how it goes. Anything else you want to add about like what the film adds to, or?
Yeah, I mean, coming into this, I knew it was like kind of like a cop murder thriller, and that's not necessarily my style. And so I was like, we'll see how this goes. But damn, did it take a turn early, and I was just fully locked in the whole way. It was amazing. And to see Robin Williams in a role like this was shocking. I saw the cover and I assumed they were like the cop partners, or
Yeah.
is I wrong?
Yeah. Williams doesn't even come in till like halfway through the movie too. I was like waiting for it. And I had no research into this, like who was who in this. I had a feeling Pacino was the detective because, you know, he just loves playing detectives.
Yeah.
But then like he comes in and he's like the murderer who was like a famous author and is like trying to play this good guy this whole time, where he's like, it was a mistake. I didn't mean for that to happen, all this. And then it kind of turns at the end to where like it clearly was not a mistake. And he's clearly just a horrible human being. And thankfully Al Pacino shows up when he does and like saves Hilary Swank's character, but ends up dying himself. But Hilary Swank also was like really shout out to her. I think she was very surprising.
No, she was really amazing in this too. Yeah.
Overall, I gave the plot a 9 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it. Again, like it's different, like neo noir, like kind of thriller. I just didn't see a lot of it coming. And once it did, it got me really locked in. And like the whole sleep factor of it, guilt. I think there's a lot of like very dark themes in this movie that kind of add into the plot in a very unique way. And you can kind of just see how Nolan is like kind of perfecting his craft in this movie.
Yeah. No, it was really well done. And I had a friend tell me kind of, it's not Nolan's best, but I then realized really fast, like, Nolan's bottom 5 is still like up there for most compared to most directors.
Yeah. It's it's actually insane how good he can be with even at the start of his career, because we did Memento and like that was insane how he used time. And this, he doesn't use time necessarily, which is I could see like reminiscence of this movie in like Oppenheimer, like a movie that he doesn't really use time for either, which is very interesting. Getting into characters, I gave it 8 out of 10 because I think the 3 main ones, Pacino, Williams, and Hilary Swank, very dive deep into like who they are, how deep it is, and then like Pacino's character himself. I just really like it. I like his performance in this. I like the sleep factor of it all, and like kind of goes into the name itself and like the setting itself, which we could get into a little bit later. But what do you think?
Yeah, the characters in this were pretty amazing. It reminds me of a line from Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. I don't know exactly how it goes, but it's basically a line saying, all cops are criminals just as all sinners are saints. Like that's what these characters fully encompass, is each good person has a bad side. Each bad person has a good side. Like Robin Williams probably isn't that bad of a guy, but he did do something very bad. And same with Al Pacino. And then as well as I forgot her name. I'm sorry, the female cop. She was the one that was teetering on the edge of crossing that line and then never did eventually. And Al Pacino told her not to.
Yeah. Ellie Burr.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's such a good point of like right at the beginning of the movie, before he even says anything, like right when he sees it, he's like, no, like this is a guy that went into the details for this. He's like, he's done it once. He's going to do it again. He says that right at the beginning of the movie. But then because of what he does, kind of changes his perspective of it all. And he just forgets like his own intuition throughout the movie until the very end. And he's like, wait, like he's, he's actually, I mean, he's a killer. And
Mhm.
he like clearly showed signs of like liking it. And thankfully he becomes to his senses at the end and like pretty much saves Hilary Swank. Cinematography, I gave it 8 out of 10. I thought it was really well done. I mean, we're talking about Christopher Nolan here, so of course it's going to look really good. 2002 film. This is before he starts doing like IMAX related films kind of idea, but
Mhm.
I thought it was really good. What do you think?
Yeah, I gave that a 10. The use of light in this movie is so amazing. And to choose a place like Alaska in the summertime where it's pretty much light out all day is so interesting because there's scenes where Pacino's going to do like dirty work at night, like when he went and shot that bullet into the dead dog to try to get the bullet out and use that for the forensics. Clearly happening at night, but surrounded by lights and just nobody's around, nobody's outside, nobody's lights are on in their house. It's just all light out outside, but we're seeing such a dark thing happening and we're used to seeing that in the dark. I thought it was a really interesting way to use light in this movie.
Yeah, I think that's like a part of like set design for me as well, and like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
setting of it all because like again, it's such an interesting concept to use like Alaska in this sense, especially the time of the year where there is no nighttime. Like it starts right at the beginning of the film where he's like, "Oh, let me go surprise him at school," and they're like, it's 10 p.m." He's like, "Oh, when does it get dark around here?" They're like, for like 30 minutes," and then he's like, "Oh, I bet I read that somewhere."
Yeah.
This is where he's still like kind of like a charismatic cop and all this stuff right at the beginning of the movie, right until that diner scene at the hotel where him and his partner kind of says, "Hey, I'm going to confess," or like tell them. And then he kind of down spirals from there, but then he still is up doing his job. And then, the big twist of him shooting it. So dialogue, I gave it a 9 out of 10. There's a lot of like very big lines that kind of stuck with me with a good cop can't sleep because he's missing a piece of the puzzle. A bad cop can't sleep because his conscience won't let him.
Yeah. That was a really great line.
Yeah, which I think, and it's come from Ellie, and she's like, "You said that," and he's like, "I said that."
Hmm.
It's like, and now he's like fighting his own consciousness at this point, and he's like, "Am I a bad cop?" Which he's just not forgiving his own sin and like mistake. Like he's never made a mistake in his career up to this point. He makes a huge one, and he's not letting himself forgive himself because the consequences that could happen from it, with losing all the other convictions back in LA that he's done for his whole career. And he doesn't want all those people to get away because he doesn't think that's fair. And that's kind of what Robin Williams' character kind of uses against him throughout like the movie. It's just like, are you going to let this one case dictate like the rest of your cases? So he battles his own consciousness with him. I don't know. It's such an interesting like character battle.
Yeah. I think Al Pacino's dialogue stood out the most, specifically him and Robin Williams. I mean, you put those two in a room, it's going to happen. You don't really have to
Yeah.
do much amazing writing, but yeah, it was pretty great.
Yeah. All three movies that we've seen with Pacino, it's just like, man, if you write him some good lines, he can act them out.
Yeah.
He'll do good with them. Like, don't worry. Another good line that like kind of just stuck out to me because he's like, two kinds of people live in Alaska. One's born here and one's come here to escape something else. And I wasn't born here. And this comes from like the hotel clerk saying
Yeah.
that. So it's like, dang, okay. Like I didn't know
Yeah,
you
that
were
was
that
good.
kind of deep of a character. But
I
and then they
think
had
it
a
was
deep
meant more
conversation.
for Pacino to realize in that moment, he hadn't slept for 6 days. Everything was starting to turn on the case, and that was his time to make a decision there. Which one was he?
Yeah. Yeah. Without her, who knows? He may just go back home and like let who knows what happens to Ellie Burr at that point. Acting, I gave it a 10 out of 10. Honestly, I thought they all were really good in this movie. The three main ones, which is really what matters in this kind of film when you rely on three big name actors. I don't think any of the side actors took away anything. I think they just weren't a part of it. So like the three big were the three big. Robert Williams is so interesting in this because I don't think I've seen that many serious acting roles before. So
Yeah, I mean, serious roles one thing, but also playing a villain. Like he's always such a happy actor. You don't ever see that. And yeah, that was a very deep role for him to play. One thing I pointed out to Madison, we were watching early on, I was like, yeah, Pacino's partner is dead. Like, I've never seen that guy in my life. You would hire a big actor to play his partner if he was going to stay alive more than 20
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. He's one of those that guys where
Yeah.
I recognize his face, but I could not tell you his name at all. No disrespect to him at all,
Yeah.
because I'm sure he makes more money than me. So like, but yeah, he's definitely just not like more iconic guy, but he's still such a big name, and like he sees him while he's like getting sleep deprived throughout the movie as well. I think his name's Nicky Cat. Please let that be it. No, Martin Donovan. No disrespect to you, Martin Donovan.
Love you, Martin.
Nah, Pacino, so good in this. Pacino and Nolan together. This is the only film they did together, and Williams. Nolan really knows what to do to like get the most out of his actors. That's what I really can just see with all of his movies.
That's why I'm not worried about the stacked cast of Odyssey.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end of the podcast. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, sound effects 7 out of 10 just for me, because I hate comparing it to other movies, but like compare this to other Nolan films, it's just not quite to the level of these other Nolan films, you know?
Yeah.
It's not the best to always compare, but you know, when it's a guy like Nolan, sometimes you have to. For me, it just wasn't up to the level, you know? Cool. Design, this is where 9 out of 10 for me. I think set in Alaska, daytime the whole time, was really unique for me, really cool. I just really enjoyed it. I don't know. There's not many movies that are like this, where the time, like the daytime factor of it, and like the actual place is such a big factor in like what's happening to the character.
Yeah. Especially that pairing with, you know, just the theme of him not being able to sleep and being stuck in that daze, sitting in the hotel room, just tossing and turning, the light beaming through the window, especially leading up to the end when he's like, it's not dark enough in here. And then she turns on the light. She's like, it's dark, but
Yeah.
It's clearly just in his head. And that's what he's doing to himself, is he's tearing himself apart inside out.
And then like the chase sequences, especially the log chase, was really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
How like Williams lived there, and he lived in a log cabin, so it makes sense why he could run on logs so well.
Yeah.
Al Pacino falls through and like almost dies.
Yeah.
Kind of a scary sequence there, but it's also interesting how like roads aren't like such a big part of the film until it's the end. Like you just go to places, you know, we've talked about this before, where sometimes you don't get the driving aspect of places. We only get that right at the end of the movie, where he's driving away, about to go back to LA with all of his sins and pretty much regretting everything. And then he almost like falls asleep at the wheel, and he's just like, wait, I don't want to go home with me regretting everything, which kind of ends in his line of like, let me sleep finally. When he, the last line of the movie. Directing, I gave it a 9 out of 10 because we're talking about one of the GOATs. And again, you can just see so much of like the groundwork for what he does here into his other movies. And he's just so good at getting what he can out of actors, the plot of the story. Even this movie wasn't that long compared to his other ones, but it's just so well put together. There's not a single scene where I'm like, that probably doesn't belong. You know, every single thing adds to each other. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Like I said, I was told this was a bottom 5 Nolan movie, and I was expecting low, and
yeah,
the shit was gas. I mean, it was so good.
I'm surprised. Yeah. I'm surprised this movie doesn't get more love, honestly. But
yeah,
I mean, with his filmography, I guess it kind of makes sense. And it's more of like a settled film, if that makes sense. Also, a lot of his films are really big concepts.
They're very grand.
And I think that's why Memento and probably Insomnia and even maybe The Prestige, even The Prestige is like magicians going against each other. That's even a grand scheme of itself. These two are like very more settled, down to earth movies. Yeah, grounded. There you go. That's a better term. Yeah. Editing, gave it a 9 out of 10. Again, very well cut scenes to each other. The chase sequences, the use of light added into it, the different shadowing factors in the room. Really well done.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done too. Not a lot of fast cuts, but great storytelling from all the different characters and working their stories each individually into each other.
And then lastly, theme, 9 out of 10, because I really enjoyed how it was just a battle of consciousness against himself throughout this, while also trying to, I mean, he solved the case like almost like halfway through the movie. He already solved it. And at that point, it's just a battle against himself. Um,
Yeah.
which is such a unique way of like doing like a cop film, because most
Yeah.
of the time it's like they're trying to find out who did it the whole time, or it's like a cat and chase, like how Heat is. It's just very different than most cop films, to where like they solve it, but rather he's just fighting against himself. Really, Robin Williams' character is really good at using that against him,
Yeah.
because I just
The,
wonder,
go ahead.
I just wonder like if he doesn't shoot him, like I mean, he just solves it, and then they end up going home probably like 2 days later.
Yeah. The overall like moral ambiguity in this was really, really big theme. Just the jumping to different characters and kind of seeing how they stand on what happened and what they know happened. A lot of truth and lies going around too, but it was well done.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Ellie Berg has to live with like the grievance of knowing that he accidentally shot his partner at the end, but it kind of like ends in a way of like, your secret's safe with me. You didn't do that on purpose. I know you didn't do that on purpose, kind of thing, which I think was like very important for her as a character too. Cause I mean, she looked up to him. That was her like biggest idol of like who to be as a detective, and having to look into the investigation of like the shooting and then figure out your idol is the reason, or like the main suspect, probably really hard to live with.
Yeah, for sure.
So I gave it a 86 out of 100 or 8.6 out of 10. Relatively high rating for his films. But again, like talk about Christopher Nolan, and everyone says it's the bottom 5 film, but it's still like a 4.5-star movie for me.
Dude, what are we doing? I gave it an 8.6 or an 86 out of 100.
What is going on?
Pretty great movie. I'm glad we felt the same about it.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a great watch. Like I said, this isn't my go-to category per se, but I loved how differently this was done compared to a lot of other ones.
I definitely agree. Like this movie doesn't, in an essence, where a lot of like thrill, like heist cop films for me, I like call them like, oh, they rock. Like you're about to get like rocked because it's just going to be a crazy adventure. This isn't that. It's just so mind bending. And then at the same point, like just battle of consciousness. I don't know. Very different. All right. Awesome. So yeah, we just talked about Al Pacino overall as an actor. I definitely want to check out more of his stuff after this, seeing him like in these 2 movies just do so well. Like I definitely want to watch Godfather Part 2. I want to watch a lot of his other stuff that he's been nominated for, like Scent of a Woman is what he won for. And then Serpico, I've heard really good things about. Dog Day Afternoon, I've heard really good things about. I think I got a couple of watching to get through for his filmography to really appreciate him. And those movies, he's like the lead. Like there's no other guy like counterpart to him. So it would be interesting to see that difference too. Because the 3 movies we just talked about were all like co-leads.
Yeah.
Awesome. So next, what we're going to do is, since we haven't seen enough of Al Pacino and we really don't want to upset TikTok too much like we have been by ranking his films, being like, oh, where is this movie? Where is this movie? We've gotten some hate in the past for doing some stuff, but we're going to rank our like top 10 most anticipated movies and or overall projects for 2026, stuff that we're really just looking forward to coming out. So Justin, if you want to go first.
Yeah, I'll start with 2 honorable mentions. I'm not going to really dive into. I'm interested by Project Hail Mary. I've heard everybody say the book's really good. I'm just worried that the directing and overall screenplay might mess it up. And then also the Michael biopic. I think that will make $1 billion and everybody will go to see it. Hopefully it's done pretty well.
I'm just worried with that one, that Michael, if they just don't go into like the actual like controversial parts about him. If they just make him look like this icon and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it'll be a good movie. Like I feel like a good biopic has to go, if you're going to do like a whole career like they're going to do with him, you've got to dive into like the crappy parts about him and the really controversial parts.
Yeah, no, it should be a 3.5 hour long movie. I just fear that they're going to not do that.
Yeah.
For number 10, movie Clayface. I'm super excited for this. I know it's kind of like going to be like a small budget project for DC. Not really even sure what universe it takes in, if it's the Superman, if it's the Batman. Not sure how all that's going on, but it's going to be like a body horror film. I think we'll probably find it interesting. And I'm just curious to see how it does, being a superhero film. you're trying to bring in those superhero people, but I think it'll do well with like the horror fan base as well. So we'll see for that one. Number 9, staying in DC, I have Supergirl. I'm super excited about this one. From what I've seen in the trailer, I'm a little worried it's just going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 4. But obviously, I liked Superman, and I'm excited to see this as well.
Yeah.
Number 8, I have the Wonder Man TV show from Marvel. I'm actually super excited about seeing this. It's a very different story than what Marvel typically sticks to when it comes to superheroes. And I'm happy when they branch out like this. You know, even if we watch it and we're like, that show was ass, I'm glad they tried something.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad they branched out a little bit and threw us a different kind of flavor, I guess.
Yeah, I think that show is going to be very different from a lot of what they've been doing in the past. Very like Werewolf by Midnight kind of vibes of like Marvel doing something just completely different, you know?
Yeah.
Going off like the scale. Him himself as a character in the comics is very complicated character.
Yeah.
And I don't think they should go way too in his background because you're just going to lose people.
Yeah.
They should keep it very grounded because once you start going in too deep, people are just going to lose interest because it's actually insane.
Yeah. There is a lot of superhero projects. So number 7, Spider-Man Brand New Day. I'm super excited. Basically hit the reset button for Tom Holland Spider-Man, and I'm excited to see where they go with it. You know, it's basically a blank slate. A lot of big actors getting cast in it. Obviously, they stated Punisher and Hulk will be in it. Sadie Sink is an unknown character at this point, and there was mentions of even Black Widow being in it. So that should be interesting.
I read something. I don't know. Twitter's funny with Sadie Sink's character. It's like, oh, Sadie Sink has been seen wearing Jean Grey's colors. Will she be Jean Grey? Or it's like wearing green and yellow. What will that be? And it's like, okay, I don't know. Just all the theories about it is very funny to me.
Yeah, because then some people are saying she's playing like Punisher's like up and comer, like Punisher sidekick, I guess. So we'll see. Number 6, I have Super Mario Galaxy. Super nostalgic for me. I grew up playing Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii. Super excited to see what they do with that. It'll make $1 billion and kill. And the last one was pretty funny. I enjoyed it. So this one should be good too. Number 5, I have Godzilla Minus Zero. You might be thinking this should be higher on Justin's list. That's one of his favorite movies. And I am. But I'm worried that the other one got a little bit too mainstream and they might try to do too much with this one. Still going to go see it. Still excited to see it. But I have some concerns about how it's going to go.
Is it the same director?
Yeah, same director.
Okay.
Number 4, I have Mandalorian and Grogu. This is really the final straw for Star Wars. If this sucks, Star Wars, we probably won't see another one for 20 years and then it'll get rebooted. I mean, this could be the end all be all for Star Wars. And I don't think it'll suck. I mean, the show's good. The Ahsoka show is good. And they've been doing better, obviously, with Andor. I know Andor has nothing to do with this movie, but I think we're heading in the right direction. But it'll be nice to see Star Wars return to theaters for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. Jeremy Allen Wright's like doing some random character in it. I don't know what he's doing in it.
Yeah, he's playing a hut.
Interesting.
It's like voice acting.
Okay. But then Pedro Pascal, I've heard for the last like year has gone kind of like people are kind of tired of seeing him. So I mean, he's gonna have a helmet on for most of the movie, so maybe that will help. But they do have the Starfighter movie coming out in 2027 with Ryan Gosling too. Like that's already like solidified plan. So it's like these are like the two that are solidified, and I feel like again, if you said this doesn't go well, I don't know what they're gonna get.
Did you hear about the Starfighter movie this week? Tom Cruise is on set directing a lightsaber fight.
Yeah, I saw that because he just wanted to like do it because he could.
Since when was there going to be a lightsaber fight in this movie? I thought it was like a super grounded like level movie, but I guess not.
I guess Sean Levy was just like, "You're Tom Cruise. I'll let you do anything, man."
Yeah, pretty much.
Dude, you see the cringy video of him walking through like the Millennium Falcon?
Who?
Sean Levy.
No, I didn't see it.
There's like him walking through like really like dramatic like shots of him walking through it and like touching like the walls and stuff. All the responses are like, "Dude, you aren't Martin Scorsese. Calm down."
Number 3, next year, I have The Boys. Super excited to see the final season. I haven't watched Gen V season 2 yet. I'm sure that leads right into The Boys. So yeah, that should be really good. And then number 2, obviously I have Avengers Doomsday. kind of in the same boat as Star Wars. Like if they mess this up, the next 5 years are going to be very bad of the stuff they already have planned. And yeah, people are just going to be done. And Superman's going to save the day, I guess.
Think I got a lot of people are hating on it because they're bringing back characters. And I get kind of it in the movie aspect, but then in the comic book aspect, it 100% makes sense. Like, I don't think people understand, like, these are comic book movies where people come back to life, like literally every other issue. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's lazy. I think it's just true to comic books and what comic books are supposed to be like, which is confusing as fuck. And like, where are people coming back alive from? It's like, no, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
When it says Avengers, that's how it works, especially Doomsday and Secret Wars. It's supposed to be all these different types of peoples. I don't know. I think that's like lazy criticism that people that actually like appreciate the comic.
Yeah. I mean, like back in the day when they would write comics, it was just like Captain America would die, but in the next issue, he was right back like nothing happened. It's not like a linear story. I know obviously with the MCU and what they've set up, it is a very linear story. So doing that, I think is what bugs people, but I think it'll be good. And I have, honestly, to this point, I'm very excited because they haven't like given away the entire plot in the trailers. Like it's just been, okay, this is who's going to be there. Come see it in theaters to find out. I love when movies do that. Don't tell me the whole story in the trailer. It just makes me so angry.
The Russo brothers were good about that in Infinity War and Endgame. So I'm going to trust that they're just going to show like the first half of the movie in the trailers, and that's it. That's what they did in the other two. And that's fully what I expect.
And then my number one most anticipated is The Odyssey. I know not the most out there answer, but I think it's going to be amazing. I'm a big fan of Greek mythology. So getting into this and then seeing Nolan do it is just going to be, I mean, I think it's going to make $1 billion in a week. I think so many people are going to go see this movie.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what it's rated. I think if it's PG-13, it's going to make like 1.6 billion. It's going to be his biggest movie yet because there's so much hype coming into it. The story itself, and Oppenheimer almost made $1 billion with a 3-hour biopic. And this is an epic where I think it's more rewatchable probably for everyone. IMAX is already sold out. So it's insane. The IMAX is literally like, IMAX took over Spider-Man. Spider-Man has no IMAX screenings because of Odyssey. And Spider-Man comes out like 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
That's how big this movie is. Okay, cool. I have a lot of honorable mentions that I'll just kind of just talk a little bit about, but Social Reckoning. So this is like sequel, not really, a second to The Social Network.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Aaron Sorkin, who wrote The Social Network. I wish the director came back. Why am I forgetting his name right now? Don't kill me, please. He's like one of the best actors or directors of all time, too. Sorry. Awkward.
No, you're good.
Silent. Social Network. Well, don't look up Social Network because it'll just give you like a basic definition of what social network means. David Fincher.
Yeah.
I knew it was David. I wish it was directed by him again because that movie was so clean because of him. I'm interested in it because it's more so about like the 20s scandal with Facebook and Zuckerberg. Jeremy Allen White and Jeremy Strong playing, like Jeremy Allen White's playing like the guy, like his assistant or something.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy Strong is playing the actual or Zuckerberg himself. So it interests me. It's not my top 10 though, even though Social Network I think is the best movie of the decade or like the century so far. The Moment is another honorable mention for me, about a story about like a pop star like going through the struggles of like before her first big concert, and Charlie XCX plays the main character. It's an A24 movie, and I think that'll be really interesting because she's like pretty much playing herself.
That will be interesting.
It comes out at the end of January. I'm definitely going to go see it. Wonder Man was up there for me for show wise. Lanterns, another show that is set in the DC universe about two cops kind of going through and then like solving a crime. I heard it's like gets really dark in the show itself.
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion kind of like comes in a little bit as a Green Lantern, but these are like Jon Stewart. Like these are like the actual two main Green Lanterns in the comics. Euphoria season 4 or season 3. It's been a while.
Just left it.
The first two are really good, like super well shot, super like grimy films where like after you watch each episode, you feel like you have to take a shower. But I'm looking forward to it just because they said there is a time jump. So they're not trying to play them as high schoolers again. Thank God.
Yeah.
If they try to do high school again, I was like, you got me out. But you got some of the biggest name actors and actresses playing. Like I'm there, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
We'll see. My two like main honorable mentions: East of Eden, which is based off of like a John Steinbeck novel from the 1950s. They've done a couple movies from it in the past. This is a show. Mainly reason why I'm surprised or like really looking forward to this. It's released on Netflix. Florence Pugh is like the main character. I don't think she's done a show in forever, and anything with Florence Pugh, I'm probably gonna watch. So, and then 11, or like this second honorable mention for me, is Doomsday. I'm excited for it, but for me, it's just I got trust, but I also like have my things to go against it. I want the
Yeah.
story to make sense. As much as I was talking about how comic book movies, it makes sense to bring back people. If the story makes no sense, then like I'm not
Yeah.
there.
It's going to feel like fluff.
Yeah. Okay. So for number 10 for me is Flowervale Street, which there's not too much other than Flowervale Street is an upcoming novel. It involves Anne Hathaway, Ewan McGregor. It's a science fiction film. And the premise is that there's like a little bit of time travel coming in to it where they're in a neighborhood and like they see dinosaur bones coming up and then like time travel is a part of it. The same guy directed It Follows, which is one of my favorite horror movies. So I'm really interested in it because Anne Hathaway, Ian McGregor, like really interesting to see them together. Number 9 for me is Beef Season 2. I really like Beef Season 1 with Steven Yeun, but Beef Season 2 looks even more interesting to me because it has Oscar Isaac, Carey Mulligan, and then as well as Kaylee Spaney. And those are all like some of my favorite actors and actresses right now. So I think it'd be really cool. It's about how a young or a couple sees like their bosses, like marriage couple, like get in a really crazy fight, and it kind of sets off these things of events. And then if you know anything about Beef Season 1, it kind of like turns from like this little feud into like a big thing. Very well like directed and as well like acted like show. Really recommend checking out Beef Season 1 if you haven't. Number 8 for me is Project Hail Mary, mainly because I read the book itself and I think the book is amazing. Andy Weir novels are really unique space novels. The Martian was really done well. It's the same guy that directed The Martian and right from it. So I'm going to trust that he does Andy Weir justice. Ryan Gosling doing his thing comes out in like March. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. Number 7 is something that actually the first episode came out this past week. The Pit Season 2. I really liked Season 1 of The Pit. It's just like it was like a normal medical drama, but it's so accurately done. And like each episode is an hour of their shift. And this first episode of Season 2, very laid back compared to like how Season 1 ended, because it's kind of a time jump to like 10 months later. And it's like normal TV back, like every single week it's a new episode. They're still filming Season 2 as it's releasing right now. Like they still have the last 2 episodes still to film. They're like doing normal TV back at what used to happen in the 90s, 2000s, which I literally love that somebody's doing it,
Yeah.
If you really want to check out like a good medical drama, Pit is really good. Number 6 for me is Sunrise on the Reaping, The Hunger Games. Again, another thing where I read the book and I really enjoyed the book. This is about the 50th Hunger Games, Haymitch's story. This is not going to be like most Hunger Games stories where there's a happy ending. That's all I'm going to say, because it gets super deep, and like the arena for it looks like the trailer looked amazing, and the arena in the book is very, very cool as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. And it's the same director that did all the Hunger Games, so I'll trust as well. And he did The Long Walk, and I really like that one.
Yeah.
He does good adaptations of books. Number 5 for me is Resident Evil by Zach Kreger. Zach Kreger just did Weapons this past year, which I really liked. And he's coming out with this Resident Evil, and Resident Evil and Sony has kind of just been, here you go. Here's all the money. Do what you want. And Resident Evil, I think, is one of those games where you don't need to do a direct adaptation to do it justice. You can kind of just go all over it. And in his hands, I think it's going to be really well done. So really looking forward to it. Number 4 for me is Werewolf. It's a new movie by Robert Eggers. He did The Lighthouse, The Witch, Nosferatu. I'm more looking forward to this because Werewolves for me, I think, hasn't gotten the right justice in like any like horror movies since like the 70s. And I think if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be him.
Yeah.
I think werewolves are such like a unique monster. This last year, Wolfman came out, and I heard it was like the worst movie of the year. I want to check it out. He's really good at timepieces. Some people want him to go and do something different and challenge himself. And I'm like, when you're good at something, why change? If you're really good at making period pieces, you're a director. Do what you're good at.
Yeah.
Number 3 for me is the same number 3 as you. So Boys Season 5. I've watched it up to now. really looking forward to see how they end. I already know it's not going to end how the comics did because it's already gone way off the comics, and thank God it doesn't end how the comics did. If you want to see the nastiness of the comics, then you can read up on it. Number 2 for me is Disclosure Day, which is a film coming out by Steven Spielberg. The trailer just came out. It's an alien movie, kind of like disclosing a lot of information. I mean, Steven Spielberg, it may be like one of his last like feature films as a director, and he's really good at space movies and like aliens. So I'm locked in. Josh O'Connor's in it, Emily Blunt. There was some CGI in the trailer that I didn't like, but I believe in the cut, so he'll change it in editing.
I'm gonna watch it. I had no interest in from what I saw from the trailer. Just didn't pique me for whatever reason.
I mean, maybe it's just because of aliens. I don't know. Maybe you're just not into aliens.
I love aliens, dude.
I mean, they didn't show the aliens, but
I know.
Maybe you got to check out Close Encounters of the Third Kind to see what Spielberg's got in his bag.
Yeah, probably.
The Odyssey is my number 1. I think it's going to be most of people's number 1s for the year, like looking forward to. I mean, talked about it enough already. It's just an epic that Homer and Christopher Nolan, one of like the best directors alive, and the cast is just insane. What a year for Anne Hathaway. She's doing so many films. I think she's starring in like 5 films this year. And what's up with Christopher Nolan films with just coming back home to Anne Hathaway? You got The Dark Knight Returns, and you got Interstellar, and now The Odyssey. Also, Matt Damon finally gets his flowers with him.
Yeah.
Matt Damon's kind of played like a villain-ish character in all of his films before, and now he gets to like, shine some light on him. Be interesting. And Tom Holland. Tom Holland gets to get out of the Marvel universe for a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But cool. Anything else you want to add?
I'm set.
Cool. Well, thank you for listening this week. Had some fun talking about Al Pacino.